Hey chillers, welcome back to my channel. So, today, yes, I'm wearing my fake lip rings again. But today, I am going to be reading Skinwalker stories. Put callus on my hand. Yes, I'm going to be reading Skinwalker stories. And as usual, my laptop sits over here, so I can read the stories for you guys. Excuse me. So, I found some stories online. Alright. Number 1. Maybe trying to hit it wasn't the best idea. My father owns, this is from Redditor Neptune 420. My father owns a small delivery service that operates out of Farmington, New Mexico. We mostly deliver small packages out to the middle of nowhere that are too much of a hassle for the larger delivery companies to bother with. My dad is the only employee and we have a few pickup trucks and a trailer. One day we got a delivery out to Window Rock, Arizona, on the Navajo reservation about 2 hours from Farmington. My dad gets the call for the job while he is chilling with his Navajo friend Travis and his girlfriend. Travis mentions how he's got family in Window Rock that he hasn't seen in ages and suggests they go with him. I was about 6 or 7 at the time and it was the summertime, so Dad decides we'll go down together. He can do his delivery really quick. Then while Travis sees his family, we can go check out the Window Rock. Big rock face with a large hole in it that goes to the other side. Pretty cool. We had to convoy in separate trucks since my dad's was loaded down with freight. We decided to bring along some walkie-talkies so we could communicate with each other. We spend our time in Window Rock, everything is generally uneventful, and we start heading home along the old highway, with my dad and I in the front, and Travis and his girlfriend in their truck behind us. I honestly don't remember most of the Window Rock trip, but this next part I can never forget. Alright, let me move my laptop down here. Yes, I put stickers on my laptop. So, now I got my laptop down here. Alright, where was I? But this next part I can never forget. We're somewhere on the highway between Window Rock and Gallup, New Mexico. It had just rained early in the day and the road was kind of slick, so we were taking it pretty slow. On the left of the highway there's nothing but sandstone cliffs, and on the right there's a huge field separated from the road by a small barbed wire fence. We crest the top of this hill, and down at the bottom of the hill we see what appears to be a very large dog, sitting back on its haunches in the middle of the road facing the cliff. My dad calls over the radio, "Hey Trav, do you see that big dog?" Travis starts yelling back over the road, "That is not a dog. Speed up right now and hit it." He sounds almost hysterical. He just keeps screaming, "Hit it. JJ, you have to hit it. Please, please hit that thing right now." So my dad starts to speed up, and as we get a bit closer, I can see it a little more clearly. It's covered in this brown, wiry, matted hair that appears to have dried blood all over it. It's still facing the cliffs. But the moment our headlights hit it, it turns and looks at us, and it has a face. I don't know how else to describe it other than a mix between a bear and a human's face. It looks twisted and distorted, and almost in pain. As we get closer to this thing, we realize it's actually huge. Though it was still sitting on its haunches, it is about shoulder height with the hood of the truck. We get literally inches from hitting it when it lets out this scream that sounds like someone screaming as their lungs were filling with water, and it leaps backwards towards the field, landing just on our side of the barbed wire fence. Then with another leap, it was gone from sight. Travis comes over the radio again. "Keep driving, we have to get out of here. We have to go faster." He kept repeating that last part. "We have to get out of here and we have to go faster." Pretty soon we're speeding like crazy, and just as we start to come near the outskirts of Gallup, we get pulled over. Travis pulls his truck over with us. Naturally, this makes a cop, a Navajo man himself, very on edge, and immediately asked why Travis felt the need to pull over as well. Travis says, "We just saw a Skinwalker a few miles back, and it's been following us." The officer immediately turns white, stammers something about a verbal warning, gets in his car, and takes off. We do the same. We didn't see anything else that night, but when he got home, Travis refused to let us leave without taking some kind of Navajo totem thing that was supposed to keep it away. That was creepy. That was so creepy. I'll read 4 of the stories on this website. There are more stories on this site, but I will leave a link to this site down in the description so you can go and read the rest and read these stories. This is from the website. It's called Ranker, but all of the stories are pulled from Reddit onto this website. Number 2, don't get off the bus. Anybody that has been on the Navajo reservation has either probably heard of some creepy things or have experienced pretty creepy things, namely skinwalkers. I have only seen one. Here's my story. Right. That's better. I come from a small town in northern Arizona that's sandwiched between the Paiute, I don't know how to pronounce that word, P-A-I-U-T. I'm going to say Paiute. The Paiute Reservation to the north in the U.S. is, I'm sorry if there's any Navajo, Arizona people watching my videos. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your reservation. And the U.S. is the largest Navajo reservation to the south. My school being so small, a 1A high school, I'm guessing a 1 acre high school that has on average 80 students enrolled every year, always had to travel south about 5 to 10 hours one way to play another high school in any sport. This means that we traveled a lot on the Navajo res, and we usually stayed at hotels when we would head out to play and come home in the morning. But this trip was a little different. I remember the basketball coach saying that the school didn't have enough money to put up the teams in a hotel that trip, so we were going to be on the road for a total of 12 hours. Oh, that's so cramped. I was the only male senior to play basketball that season. We had just got done playing our game and headed home on our bus, Big Blue. We were headed out, and it wasn't long, about 2 hours of driving, before we had entered the res. By this time, everyone was asleep, with it being about 2 in the morning. When we had crossed the res's border, I noticed the bus driver had sped up and was now going about 85 miles an hour. I thought this was a little weird because he never exceeded the speed limit, at least not in my high school career. For some reason, I couldn't fall asleep like the rest of my teammates. I just sat at the back of the bus staring across. I just sat at the back of the bus staring out across the desolate desert landscape that was lit up by the full moon. As I looked down, I could see a figure running towards the bus at an angle of pursuit, and keeping up with the bus at 85 miles. As the figure got closer, I saw that it was a humanoid form. As a matter of fact, it looked exactly like a human, only that the face was painted half black and half white with glowing eyes. Glowing eyes like a rabbit's eyes reflecting from a spotlight, glowing eyes like a rabbit's eyes, reflecting light from a spotlight. I immediately thought, holy crap, it's a skinwalker. The skinwalker ran up to the edge of the road and just kept up pace with the bus, hurling sagebrush and rocks while staring at me. After I made eye contact with that thing, I could not look away. It was as if something was holding my head and eyes in place. The skinwalker just smiled at me, this inhuman smile that went ear to ear, showing crooked, yellow, pointed teeth. I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was panicking through the whole ordeal. And the skinwalker started to crumple down to all fours, still keeping up with the bus. I could see his bones crack and reform. Hair started appearing all over the skinwalker's body. And in about 3 seconds was now a coyote, and it ran off back into the desert, out of view. As soon as it was gone, I ran to the onboard restroom and puked a mixture of blood and food. Ew. I didn't want to tell anyone for fear they would think I was crazy. I confided in my Navajo friend. She told me that I needed to see the chief, who also happened to be a friend of mine, and get a blessing. I saw him the next day in the parking lot. He just came up to me, mumbled something in Navajo while waving the feather scepter-like thing. Turned around, got in his truck, and drove away. To this day, I haven't seen another Skinwalker. It might be due to the fact that I moved away from that town and res, and if I do have to go south, I go around. Way around. He turned into a coyote. Creepy. Number 3. Itchy nose. Number 3. Stay away from ruins of the Inquisition. This all happened about 5 years ago. This comes from Reddit user JibbyJam1. This all happened about 5 years ago. One night, a few of my friends decided after a night of hanging out, that we'd go on an adventure at about 3 a.m. We took a ride about 50 miles to this old Spanish ruin in New Mexico that was once the seat of the Inquisition. I can't for the life of me remember what the place is called. So we jumped the front gate to the place and started exploring. One of my friends brought a flute with him, and he started playing it, and about 30 seconds into his mediocre playing, something started screaming really, really loud on the tops of the long destroyed walls. It was going from wall to wall really quick, screaming the most blood-curdling scream you ever imagined. We noped out of there and drove for a few hours to Bandelier National Monument, where we planned to camp out for the rest of the night, or the rest of the weekend. We got to Bandelier at probably like 6 or 7 a.m. and set up our camp. After a few hours just talking about what the heck just happened at the ruins, I went to use the bathroom, but only like 300 feet from our camp. That's when everything starts getting a little fuzzy. I remember seeing 2 dust devils coming my way, and when I turned around again, 2 of my friends were there and they were motioning for me to follow them. Like, come on, follow me. I couldn't help but to follow them, like I was being pulled behind them in shackles. I followed them for what seemed like 10 or 15 minutes. Then I snapped out of it. These weren't my friends. They had bright red hair with my friends' faces and cat eyes. Both of these friends were brunette. I stopped walking and they looked at me with probably the most terrifying gaze I've ever seen. Monsters in movies are nothing compared to this. I turned around and ran as fast as I could back the way I came from. After like 5 minutes of a full sprint, I got back to the rock where I used the bathroom and found our camp. Everyone was there, still sitting around talking, and didn't even notice that I was gone. I told them what happened with the lookalike skinwalkers, and we packed up everything and left probably within like 10 minutes and got back to Albuquerque. Last one. Tap tap at the window. After reading this tale, you probably won't sleep well tonight. Reddit user Navajo Joe's horrifying encounter with a skinwalker sounds like something right out of a horror movie. After collecting firewood, Joe, who was a child at the time, and his uncle got back into their pickup truck to go home. Joe felt something staring at him from outside his passenger window. As he was about to look out behind him, his uncle shouted to him, "Don't!" Instantly, there was a tapping on the window behind him. While the two continued their frightful journey home, the pickup truck suddenly dipped down in the back as if something heavy just climbed him into the truck's bed. All the while, the uncle kept repeating Navajo prayers and commanding Joe not to look behind him. Suddenly, the creature that climbed into the back window, or climbed into the truck, started tapping at the rear window. The tapping went on for a while until they finally felt the creature jump out. A few years later, Joe confronted his uncle about the events that transpired that night. The uncle convinced him. I didn't see faces, just eyes. It watched you. Uncomfortable with his uncle's answers, Joe jokingly asked his uncle why he didn't just brake check the creature while it was in the truck bed. To this, the uncle eagerly replied, because it wasn't alone. Ugh. 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 Alright. Well, that is the last story that I'm going to be reading. Like I said, I will leave a link to this site down below in the description. You can, if you enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up so you know, or so I know. God, I'm getting everything wrong today. Please click my bubble to subscribe to my channel. You can click here to see my last video. Yeah, to see my last video. I'm not going to do the do something new anymore. So you can click here to see my last video. My last video is here. And I will see you guys on Saturday. Because my last video I did with these, I didn't get them in time. So I had to do everything a day after. So here we go. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Well, click bubble to subscribe. Here's my last video. And I'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace out, chillers.